Welcome back to my YouTube channel again, you guys. I'm becoming more confident and nice with the camera, guys. This is becoming much better. Like I said, it's a learning process. Everybody who subscribed and everybody who is new here, I want to say a big thank you. Welcome to the Krina Styla family, and here we are doing positivity, talking stories, vlogging. You're gonna love it. And everybody who is following my story, today we are going to talk about part 4 of my journey. For those who haven't watched part 1, part 2, and part 3, you gotta go back and watch it, because if you watch only this one without watching the 3, trust me, you're going to be confused. You need to follow the series. It's not so many minutes, it's like 10-15 minutes, so it won't take much of your time. That being said, I still want to say thank you so much for everybody who has subscribed, everybody who is enjoying the series, and everybody who has liked and commented, like, guys, I'm Krina Styla. I love criticism. So if you give me that, I'm going to be so happy. Just comment your mind. I will never demean you. I'll never put you down. I will just embrace it, because we think differently and I want to learn. That being said, let's dive into part 4. Last time we stopped where I went to the neighbor's house. I knocked on the door. They shut the door in my face. Shut the door in my face. Like, they could have just said hello, like, please, hi, how are you doing? No, you can't just knock on our door. It would have been polite, but no. Guys, I went through, let me recap it. So I moved to Sweden. I was forced to move here. I go to the supermarket. No one wanted to help me. I tried to say hello to people. Everybody ignored me. They looked at me like a crazy African woman. I come home. The dog tore everything in the house, everything. This happened in the span of between in 3 days, all these things are happening. I go to the neighbor's house. They locked the door in my face. No one wanted to know anything. I felt left alone. I felt alone. I felt abandoned. I felt like I wasn't a human. I felt worthless. That's like insane for me to talk about it now. You know, I have been emotional in all the other videos, but talking about it has made me actually a little bit stronger now. I am so happy that I was able to talk and bring it out. Anyway, after I was thrown out, not really thrown out, the door knocked on my face. I came back home. I called my friend. She told me never call again. I understood that. She told me never, not to call her again, no, but never go to the neighbor's house again. I'm sorry. And I understood that. Guys, I cried. I said, okay, my auntie is coming in a few days. I have to be patient, wait for her to come. So the father of my kids, he was in another country. He's like, yeah, there's a place, like, you can take your children, you can take the kids there to play with other kids, so to get to know other kids. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll find out where that place is. So a few days I didn't know where the place is. I tried to find out. I find out. I drive there with the kids. The first time I took the kids there, there was not really other kids, but, you know, there was toys around for the children to play with and whatever. So they played a little bit, and then we came back home. We went the next day again. We finally met a Swedish woman with her child also. She tried to be friendly with me a little bit. And my kids tried to play with the son, and there was no problem. Guys, the third time I went back, that day they said there's going to be a lot of kids with a lot of mothers. I'm like, oh, good. Now my kids can meet some other friends and play with. You guys, I said today I'm not going to be emotional, and I won't. I arrived, put the kids, sat with the mothers, the children started playing. I remember very well, you know, Elizabeth is very young. Elizabeth was crawling to one of the kids to, you know, That kid was also the same age, like 8 months. Guys, I tell you, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be emotional. The mother started pulling her child away from mine. Like, the kids wanted to play. My daughter is crawling over, the other one is coming, and the mother was pulling her child away from my child. I sat there just looking. I had mixed feelings because now I had been here and I had gone through so much myself, and I'm sitting there watching my child being, she was a child, but you know, a mother clearly showing that I don't want your kid to touch mine and I don't want them to play together, was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever felt. My daughter kept crawling. This mother kept pulling the baby away, like pulling, like looking at me, like literally, take your kid away. I don't want your kid to play with mine. So my daughter kept playing, you know, little babies playing here. And then every time she goes even a little near the other children, the mothers were pulling their kids away, pulling their kids away. The African in me, the way I was raised not to judge the book from the beginning, like by its cover. I was just observing how everything is going, and that's the first time I felt that that was wrong. The brain in me, I felt like, okay, that was wrong. You don't do that. But the respect I had, I couldn't utter a word. I couldn't say anything. I first had to study the environment. I come back home with my babies. The only thing I could do was sit and cry. I sit and cry, feel better, continue, sit and cry, feel better. The next time I went there, because now the only place I know and the only place where my children could feel like they can play with some toys and stuff, I don't have many toys in the house or anything. I go back. I think these mothers, they saw, oh, this is an African mother. I look like really a villager. I don't know how to dress, nothing. They could literally see that I just came. I don't know anything. So we sit there and they started asking me questions, you know, questions about Uganda. Like, oh, I heard you guys don't have this there. And I'm like, no, we have. They were asking so many questions. And then one mother said, like, isn't it nice that you left your poor country that has war and came here to Sweden where it's so beautiful and you have everything? I looked at her, I said, no, it's not nice because I came from paradise to hell. All the mothers were like, what do you mean? I said, yeah, before I came here, I had a maid, I had a nanny, I had a chauffeur, I had good weather, I had good food, I had all these things. But I came here and everyone is looking at me like I'm nothing. Some people are pulling their children away from my kids. They are treating me like I am not a human being, like I'm not supposed to exist. And you're telling me that I am having a good life, I am in a good place, and you're telling me that I left my country to come for a better life here? They're like, no, we didn't mean it like that. We didn't know that it was like that where you come from. I say, yeah, before you say something or assume anything, try to ask in a nice way. Say, how is it in your country? Don't just tell me like, yeah, I came here, I should be grateful because now I have a better life. I am having the worst time of my life, even when I was in my village, when we didn't have electricity and running water. Up to now, we still don't have, and I love it like that. But I had a better life. The mothers, they all looked at me. Everyone started living one by one. Just for me saying that their country is not good made me even more isolated. But the good thing is I'd met one mother who is a Swedish mother. She came to the house. She started helping me out, like her son could play with my kids and stuff. So it had started getting up a little bit. Mind you, the father of these kids has left like for a whole month. I am here fending for myself, struggling in the jungle, trying to fit in, trying to find out stuff. I managed for that 1 month. I managed to make a friend. I managed to go and take my kids. I learned to ignore. I start asking the Swedish mother. I'm like, I start telling her like, yeah, I went, I said hello. She's like, yeah, here we actually, it's very strange if you say hello to people. So I learned that. I'm like, okay, now I don't need to say hello to anyone, but I couldn't help it. I needed to learn how to stop saying hello. I always like felt so offended by people not saying hello back. So when I met this Swedish mother, she helped me a little bit to understand the situation. She took down a little bit of stress and a little bit of emotions. I didn't really tell her how I felt, how I felt humiliated and degraded, and I felt like I was nothing. I felt like I wasn't wanted in this country. I felt like no one wanted me here. I didn't feel like a human, because even people at home, you would treat them better than I was being treated. Even just our dogs at home were being treated better than me, being treated here. Like, it's so humiliating for someone to look at you and look down at you. Where I come from, we never look down at anybody. We don't look down at human beings. A human being is a human being. It's an important life. And for someone to ignore you, treat you like you don't exist, that was like the worst painful thing. And guys, let me tell you, in Sweden, when they find out that you're too humble and you can't stand up for yourself and you can't speak for yourself, they'll step on you more. They'll step on you. They will just talk to you anyhow. They will just treat you anyhow because they know that you can't say anything back. So now that's the problem, that people misjudge us as Africans. Because most Africans, we are raised differently. We are raised to respect. We are raised to not jump into conclusions the first time. We are patient. If we go to a new place, we are going to study the environment. We are just not going to come and say, oh, you can't talk to me like that. Who do you think? No. We will first be patient, look at the situation, try to fit in and see how things are done. And once we find out how things are done, that's when we will start to stand up and defend. And that's the problem that was here. I came, I was being nice, I was being respectful because I don't know the country. I don't know anything about the culture. But the way people treated me, because I was quiet and I would just bow my head down. If someone said something, I can't even say anything back, because now my mom taught me, like, if you go somewhere and people are eating a rat, you gotta eat a rat. You gotta respect their household. Now, I didn't know how the culture works. I didn't know that it's a battlefield. I didn't know that everyone for themselves. If someone says something, you say something back. That me, I couldn't do that because that's not how I was raised. I was raised to have respect. To vet, don't judge the book by its cover. Give someone a chance. They are saying this maybe because they're going through this. And in me doing that, it made me go through a lot that I wasn't supposed to go through. It made me feel humiliated, degraded. I felt inhuman just because I was trying to find out how my environment is like. And that being said, guys, I want to say that today is the end of part 4. We're going to continue with the story next time. And everyone who has been here and watching, I really, really appreciate you. Everyone who has subscribed, liked, commented, I really appreciate you big time. I appreciate your opinions. I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate all your comments. I know other people won't agree with me. Other people are saying I'm not grateful and stuff. And we all understand differently, and I appreciate that. I will also try to look at things in a different light. But wait for part 5 next week. And until then, stay safe. And I hope that this story is going to inspire someone to get up and look at things differently. Until next time, bye. It's your girl, Krina Styla.